Hello everyone, welcome back to London Code supported by Newton School. So today we have a very special guest with us, Adarsh, who is a recent 2022 graduate from SRM Institute of Science and Technology. And he has cracked interviews from multiple companies like ZS Associate, Hanu Softwares, Infosys, Wipro, etc. and from various profiles. So today we are going to learn about how he cracked so many companies, what were the hurdles in his path, and few tips and tricks that he can share with all of us who are dreaming to crack such great industries. So I will let Adarsh to introduce himself.
Thank you, Rishika. Hello, everyone. I am Adarsh Satsangi. I am currently working as Business Technology Solutions Associate as GS Associates. I am a current pass out from the SRM Institute of Science and Technology. So I would be sharing some of the tips with you and my current interview experience of the GS Associate with you.
So thank you so much, Adarsh, for giving us your time. So let's directly jump to the questioning part. My first question for you is, what were all the resources that you used for interview preparation? Because as you have cracked so many interviews, so it would be great if you can share all those resources with us.
Yeah. So about the resources that I use for the interview, the most common one that I use was the Geek for Geeks. The most often use Geek for Geeks for the interview process. For the DBM, for the DSA and the DBMF process, I use the Geek for Geeks. And then, as she said, that I went through the interview process of the different companies. So I used to study some of the interview experience of the different companies from Geek for Geeks. Then for the aptitude part, I use the India Weeks because in the GS Associate, the most common part that we get is the aptitude part and the verbal ability and the data interpretation part. So for that, practice has to be good and your speed has to be good. You also have to know some of the shortcut tricks and tips for it. So for that, I use India Weeks. But as I already used to practice the aptitude questions from the RS Aggarwal and the Arun Sharma. So RS Aggarwal and the Arun Sharma books were the common ones that I use. And for the technical part, I use the Geek for Geeks.
Okay, that's great. Actually, I heard about, a lot about Geek for Geeks, and I personally use Geek for Geeks and Lead Code for learning data structure and practicing data structures. And again, others, thank you so much for mentioning those book titles. I will add all the name of the book in the description itself, so that if you missed anything in the video, you can read the description itself. So let's come to the second question. So this was all about resources, and I think everything is available on the net and everyone can search about what are all the resources to learn about data structures and algorithm. But the main point is there are some hurdles which are very personal to each and individual journey, right? So what were the hurdles that you faced in your journey?
So talking specifically about the hurdles that I face, specifically about the GS Associates. So while we give the exam for the GS Associates, it is basically a speed based exam. Like your speed has to be very good and you have to practice a lot and lots of questions. So talking honestly about it, I appeared for the GS Associate earlier as well, and I was rejected in the first round itself. Then I evaluated myself, and the major thing that I found, the major hurdle that I found was of the speed constant. So in the first round, you get many of the aptitude questions. So for that, the speed has to be really good, and speed was one of the hurdle that was into my way. The another problem was of the practice. Like for the any of the aptitude questions, you have to practice more and more. The more you practice, the better you get. So practice was another constant, and obviously for some of the aptitude questions, there are the shortcut tricks you have to follow that, because you in GS Associates you have to solve 50 questions in the 45 minutes. So for that, you cannot just go with the proper way. Like there is a shortcut for everything. So for the shortcut for this aptitude part, you have to follow the shortcut thing. So the major hurdles that I got was of the speed, the other one of the practice, and other one that in the first part, as I said in the earlier process in which I was rejected, I went through the proper way, like proper way of solving any problem. But in some of the questions, you can obviously follow the shortcut trick. So these were some of my hurdles.
Yeah, that's true. I totally understand that the online assessment part of most of the companies is more related to how fast you can solve the problem instead of how better you are at solving it. And it can only be done only if you have practiced a lot about data structures and algorithm and aptitude, because most of the companies follow this kind of pattern only in the online assessment part. Like speed and accuracy both are very important to crack online assessment round. And I would just say that if others can do it, if I can do it, then all of you can do it. It's just a matter of practice and the right path. So if you are choosing the right resources and if you are consistent with your practice, then you can crack any company. So my next question is, so we have talked about what were the resources that others used and what were the hurdles that he faced. Now I want to ask interview process of ZS associate company.
Practice was another constant, and obviously for some of the aptitude questions, there are the shortcut tricks you have to follow that, because you in ZS Associates, you have to solve 50 questions in the 45 minutes. So for that, you cannot just go with the proper way. Like, there is a shortcut for everything. So for the shortcut, for this aptitude part, you have to follow the shortcut thing. So the major hurdles that I got was of the speed, the other one of the practice, and other one that in the first part, as I said in the earlier process in which I was rejected, I went through the proper way, like proper way of solving any problem. But in some of the questions, you can obviously follow the shortcut trick. So these were some of my hurdles.
Yeah, that's true. I totally understand that the online assessment part of most of the companies is more related to how fast you can solve the problem instead of how better you are at solving it. And it can only be done only if you have practiced a lot about data structures and algorithm and aptitude, because most of the companies follow this kind of pattern only in the online assessment part. Of course, like speed and accuracy both are very important to crack online assessment round. And I would just say that if others can do it, if I can do it, then all of you can do it. It's just a matter of practice and the right path. So if you are choosing the right resources and if you are consistent with your practice, then you can crack any company. So my next question is, so we have talked about what were the resources that others used and what were the hurdles that he faced. Now I want to ask about what interview process of ZS associate company.
Yeah, so talking about the interview process, so first thing is that you should be having 70% in 10th and 12th, then more than 6.5 CGPA in your undergraduate. Then talking about the total process, so basically first, for the online assessment, there are three parts, and the all three rounds are the eliminatory rounds. So for the first one, that is the totally aptitude based part. So for that, you are given 45 minutes, and you have to solve 50 questions in that 45 minutes. So within that 45 minutes, you get the combination of the technical part as well as the aptitude part. So for the technical one, there are 10 to 15 questions from the DSA and the DBMS part. Then there are 10 to 15 questions from the uh, numerical part, the quants part basically. Then there are for the remaining part, there are questions from the data interpretation part, the verbal ability part, and the reasoning part. So this is the first round, and cutoff is around 65 to 70% for this. There is no negative marking in this round, but basically it is a speed based round. You have to be your speed has to be very good, and you have to be very accurate for cracking this round.
Yeah.
After you clear this round, as I said, in the online assessment, you get the combination of three parts. If you clear one, then you get the another round, then only you qualify for the second round. So in the second round, it is the case study round. So for this round, you are given 30 minutes, and you have to solve 8 questions. So basically there is a case study given, and you have to solve the complete case study. Case study would be something like, there is the XYZ company, which is like uh, uh, manufacturing some of the products like ABC. So it would start something like this. Then the questions would revolve around the resources, like the resources that has to be used, like the maximum profit that you would get, like from using which resources
Mhm.
would you obtain the maximum amount of profit. After you
Mhm.
clear this round, in this round, there would be the cutoff around 65 to 70% after you qualify for the second round. So you get the third round, which is the final round of the online assessment. So here you would get two questions. It would be a video interview, and for both of the question, you would get only 10 seconds to prepare yourself, and you have to speak around 3 minutes for the given question. So questions would be basically situational based question or the guesstimate. So after you clear all these three rounds, then you would be starting with the interview process. So for the interview process, in the first round, it would be basically a complete case study round. uh, for that, there would be a case study given, and 1 hour would be given for the given case study. You have to like write the SQL queries. You can expect the SQL queries, the DBMS questions for it, and some of the business intelligence part. Because for as the role is BTSA part, which is the business plus technology part, so it would be the combination of both of them. So for
Mhm.
the business, questions would be from the business intelligence, and for the technology part, it would be basically the DBMS and the SQL questions. After solving this case study, there would be the brief interview of this, which is called as the case debriefing round, and there would also be some of the technical questions. So you have to uh, tell your case study in brief into this interview. The questions would be revolving around the case study, like why you have done this, or like why you have used this only this resource, not the other one. And for the technical part, the question would revolve around the SQL part, the DBMS part, and some of the basic of the programming language like the Python. So this would be the second round. Like this would be the video. This would be the interview round. So after clearing this round, there would be the third round, and this would be the final interview round. You would get into this round only after you clear the previous one, which was the case debriefing and the technical round. So this would be the final round, and in this round, you will interact with one of the ZS leader. One of the ZS leader would be taking your interview, and here you can expect the question. The question would be basically about the situational based questions. Some of the questions from the resume itself, and the other one would be the technical one, and the most of the question would be guesstimates. So to clear this round, you have to be very perfect into the guesstimates. Like you have to solve more and more guesstimates, because then only you would be able to get the brief idea of how to solve the given guesstimate. Like if only you would be able to solve the guesstimate, then only
Mhm.
you would be able to clear this round. So after clearing all the three parts of the online assessment and these two brief interviews, then only you would be able to get into the ZS. So this is the complete interview process of the ZS associates.
Thank you so much, Adarsh, for giving complete details on the complete interview process of ZS. And it was so much in depth that how you described about the complete process, the interview process, and the online assessment part, and the final HR round. One thing that I find different from SD profile is there is more angle of business side as well, because like case study and all, these are not included in the SD interviews. So that is one difference between SD interviews and BTSA interviews, which I found from your story. But what is your perspective on it? What is the difference between the SD role and the BTS role and the interview process of both profiles?
Yeah. So talking about the comparison between the SG role and the BTSA role. So talking about the SG role, it is more about the development part. You uh, get to face more of the algorithm part, basically the data algorithms part. But about the BTS's role, it is the combination of both the technical part and the business part. Since it is a combination of the business and technical, so it would be having the technical part that is little less as compared to the SG role, because SG role is totally the technical one, but the BTSA role is little dynamic one as compared to the SG one, because you get the combination of the business intelligence plus the technical one. So it depends upon the interest to interest. People are interested for the SG one, and uh, some are interested for the BTS one. Even myself, I got the uh, offer for the SG role as well. But as I was more into the business part, like the combination of the business plus technical, so I chose this role, and I think it depends from people to people. Like if interest of the people, like if someone is
Hmm.
interested into the data analytics part, so he would be going to the data analytics part. Like you so this is something like the major comparison is like the it has the BTS one has a little bit of business addition to it. So this is
Oh.
a major difference, both of them.
Okay, and what is the basic, like what does business mean here? Like business as in business rules, and or it is something related to data analysis, that you are analyzing the data and then developing some business rule, or it is something related to that you are developing a product and taking care of that it should give you a revenue or something like that. What kind of business is there in the definition?
So about the definition of the business, so business basically here means like we are developing a product, we have to take the business consideration, like which would give us the maximum revenue, and we
Okay.
would using the minimum amount of resources.
Hmm.
Also, it would like the business intelligence part as well, like the analysis part. What is a intelligence, business analysis part? So analysis part is also included into this business part. So it is a combination of two things.
So, Adarsh, my next question to you is, as we have already discussed that you had so many offers, company offers. So, how you actually compared between those offers and finally selected the one for your career?
Yeah. So basically, like comparing the different offers, it basically depends from first thing that I think is from the interest to interest. So as I was more interested into the data analytics part, and as I already said, into the business part as well. So I chose this role for the BTSA role, but it basically different depends from interest to interest. Like someone is more interested into the SD one, so obviously he would be going for the SD role. Like some are interested for the cloud one, or even some people are interested for the support role as well. So first thing is about the interest. Second thing, like for comparing the different role, like is of the company background and the company future. Like the company has been established how long before, the kind of products that company is making, and on which tech stack basically the company is working, the how much amount of exposure you would get into the tech stack, over the tech stack, over the technology, and the future of the company. Like in future, the company is expanding, or the client that the company is having. So this is the second thing that I think that we can use to compare between the different offers. And third thing is about the role. Like the role can be offered. Like different roles can be offered. Obviously, if suppose if I'm from the data analytics part, more interested into it, and if I'm given the support role, so obviously I would be going into the data analytics part, because the role depends from when you give the interview, the role depends. Like you are given different
Mhm.
roles. I was also offered different roles, the role for the cloud engineer, the system engineer, the project
Okay.
engineer, and this one was for the associate role, the as I said about the BTS role.
Mhm.
So like you have to decide the kind of role that you want. Like if you want to go into the core dev part, the main dev part, then obviously you would be choosing the dev role over the support role. So role is also something. And the last thing I think, what I think is about the CTC part. So everyone has their own expectation of the CTC, like the what kind of like the what amount of CTC would be ample for them. Like everyone has their own
Mhm.
expectation and the kind of comparison. So CTC is also something that plays a wider role into choosing the different offers. So these are the 4 points. The first is about the interest, the company background, and the kind of future. Third is about the role, and fourth is about the CTC being offered.
Hmm. So just to give a brief of what Adarsh just said, so it's basically the comparison between how much growth you are looking forward with the company, what kind of role you are getting with the company, and basically the financial stability and the kind of work you are getting with the company. So that's how you define the final company offer that you want for your career, and that's how you can compare between different company offers if you have. So it was great talking to you, Adarsh. We have discussed so much about BTSA profile, ST role, different companies. So the complete interview process of ZS. And finally, my last question to you is, can you share some tips and tricks for my viewers? So if they are willing to crack such great companies, then it would be great if you can share some tips from your side.
Yeah. So talking about the tips and tricks. So as I said, the interview process, the online assessment part of the GS associate is very dynamic. Like it has a combination of various parts. So first thing is about the talking about the technical part is about the DSA and the DBMS part. So for that, you can practice it from the Geek for Geeks, as I already said. So it is the best platform to when you talk about the DBMS and the SQL part. The second thing is about the aptitude part. So you should practice more and more of the aptitude part, because speed matters here. So for the aptitude part, you can use books such as the Arun Sharma or the RS Aggarwal. There are some of the online resources as well, like you can use the India Bix as well for the
Hmm.
aptitude part.
Hmm.
Third is about the puzzles. So puzzles also you can use the Geek for Geeks or the India Bix. And then there's a guesstimate part. So guesstimate part, what you can do is like basically you can prepare it from the prep insta, or see some of the previous interview experiences, like the kind of questions that have been asked in the interview, and like the you have to go through the main core concept of it, because the question would be changing. Like if you get the core concept of the guesstimate, then you would be able to easily crack any of the guesstimate. So these are the four things, like the four parts, some other tips from my side, like to crack these ES associates.
Yeah, these were like a complete sum up for any interview process. Like if you want to crack any interview process, then these are the main resources that Adarsh has just mentioned. First is Geek for Geeks, Lead Code, and like Code Chef, Code Forces. If you want to practice data structures and algorithm, then to practice puzzles and quizzes, then you can again follow the resources that Adarsh has mentioned. And if you want to learn about development, then you can enroll in the full stack web development course or any other course provided online. For example, like Newton School is also providing a full stack web development course, which is link is there in the description box, so you can check out that link as well. So basically you have to cover the DSA part, you have to cover the basic quizzes and puzzle part, you have to focus on your logical skills, and then you have, if you are targeting roles like technical related roles like development roles or BTSA, which has some component of technical side, then you have to do some project in development side as well. So these are some of the resources that you have to take care of before appearing for any interview. And thank you, Adarsh, for highlighting all those points. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Rishika, and thanks to all the viewers.